Hey, Mili, thank you for being here. How are we doing this morning?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me here, Liliana. I'm
Oh,
excited.
thank you for being part of this project, which is called Rooted in Culture, Fluent in Care. So let's start with your story. What brought you into the mental health field, and what inspired you to become a bilingual therapist?
Well, where would I start? I moved to the States when I was 25.
Mhm.
I married a gringo from Buffalo, New York, and that's why I moved here. In Argentina, I studied social work, so my license in social work. And I never wanted to be a therapist in Argentina because growing up, I grew up, when I was a kid, the biggest influence in therapy was psychoanalysis. And I never connected with psychoanalysis. But I knew I wanted to work with people. So I went for, social work. And I did a lot of community type of work in my country. I then moved here.
Yeah.
When I moved here, we first lived in New York and then we moved to Colorado to the mountains. And where we are is a beautiful town where half of the community is from Central America
Mhm.
and South America. So there is a big Latino community. And I remember when I moved here, I was like, I want to work with the Latino community because that is where my heart is.
Yeah.
That is where my identity is part of.
Yeah.
And I wanted to just, yeah, find meaning in living in the US. So when I first moved here, my English was very limited. I didn't know much English, but I knew I wanted to work with the community. So I started learning English by listening to podcasts. Back then, we only had This American Life
Yeah.
20 years ago. And I remember hearing This American Life on the radio Sundays, once a week.
Yeah.
And that was the way that, I started to like really work on my English skills.
Yeah.
And as I started to do that, I got a job. I worked for the county, working. We back then we did like an in-home visit
Mhm.
program supporting the Latino community. So I did a lot of work with families.
Yeah.
And then one day I heard of a lady called Lisa Dion that was doing an intensive 6-day play therapy training.
Mhm.
And when I did that training, I had no idea. I didn't even read what was the training about. I just heard like play therapy, check, I'm gonna do it. And I remember when I did it, it was an amazing experience
Mhm.
because in that first, weekend, I got to be in relationship with a child as a therapist, knowing no English. My English was very limited.
Yeah.
And I remember what Lisa said to me was, I was like, I was able to understand. So my,
Mhm. Yeah.
comprehensive skills were better than, expressing it. So
Yeah.
she said to me, Millie, you don't have to speak the language. You can just be in relationship,
Yeah.
attuned. And I said, I can do that. So that's where my journey started, right? Like doing play therapy felt always such a comfortable place for me because it is for me, child-led,
Yeah.
nonverbal communication. It's about attunement. It's about relationship.
Yeah.
So that's where my journey started, like working with kids. And I feel that I fell in love with the work that I do. And then eventually I started to work with adults, with families. And
Mhm.
nowadays I'm doing more work with families and adults, and I don't see so many kids. But when I think back of my,
Your journey.
my
Yeah.
journey as a therapist, being with kids, it feels so natural, so like home, so like I get to be me. They're not gonna judge me, even if I say the wrong
Yeah.
word, they'll be okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where I started.
I love that. In what ways does your own culture, language, even like live experience show up in the way that you support the bilingual community?
Um, so when I first started, I did a lot of work with both cultures, right? Like English speakers and even the Latino community, even the kids that are Latino but are born here, so they identify, that they are that first generation that,
Yeah.
yes, they feel familiar with someone like me, but at the
Mhm.
same time, they feel very familiar with someone white, let's say, right?
Yeah.
So I feel that I work with a very mixture
Mhm.
population, and I feel that what I bring, like what I bring into the clients that I work with is it took me a lot of years, right, to get where I am in my own skin and feel comfortable with who I am
Yeah.
as a therapist, as a person, as a woman, right? Like, I think for a while I was a little bit not afraid, but maybe I was afraid of showing up
Hmm.
as I was as a therapist because I always felt that my English wasn't good enough. So I felt that I didn't have much to offer to the English speaking community.
Yeah.
So what I'm bringing now as a therapist, let's say to the English community is, yes, my English is not perfect, but what I'm modeling is relationship with myself, relationship with others,
Yeah.
attunement. I bring a lens of like a systemic lens. So everything for me is systemic.
Hmm.
Everything is related to
Hmm.
others,
Yeah.
right? So what I bring to the English community is a sense of, even though we look different, we sound different, we have different backgrounds, we are still human and we
Yeah.
have so much in common as humans. And we are all, from a systemic lens, part of this human web. We're all part of humanity. So I feel that I bring that, a sense of connection,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And then to the Latino community, I think what I bring is a sense of okayness. It's okay to sound like me. It's okay to look like me. It's okay to, try to find. I'm from Argentina, so to try to find my Argentina community
Yeah.
in Colorado, and at the same time be part of the white community, and at the same time create my unique community in my home with my husband and my kids. So a sense of like, it's okay to be this multifaceted and multicultural
Yeah.
being that we are.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think the also my sense of my kids and the families that I work with that are Latino,
Yeah.
when we do like, let's say, some English in some sessions in English with the teenagers,
Yeah.
I think they feel so good about their English
Yeah.
because they're like, Mili, like they don't say this to me, but right, like I ask them, how do I say this? How do I
Yeah.
pronounce this? Or which songs are you listening,
Mhm.
nowadays? So they have this sense of empowerment that, I am teaching her, I am showing her,
Yeah.
you know, um, yeah, I don't know if I answer
No,
your
I
question.
you did, right? Which is as a bilingual, bicultural therapist, we get to model in both spaces our flexibility. Like we're
Yes.
able to adjust, to be flexible, to go with the flow, because that's what we tend to do as we move in through different systems. The way that you just called it. So it was beautiful.
And we're not perfect, right?
Mm-mm.
Like we're not perfect, and it's okay. Like I think for a long time I fight this internal feeling, this internal sensation of being clunky, like
Mm.
you shouldn't.
Yeah.
And finally, I am 43 and I can say that, you know what, it's okay. If I'm
Yeah.
clunky, if I am coming across as not making sense of what I'm saying, or like not being super clear, it's okay. It's okay
Yeah.
to be clunky. It's
Yeah.
so okay.
I think that is the gift, as not only being in the field for a while, as they call us seasoned therapists, but also as getting older, right? Like the older that we're getting, that we're like, that's okay. Like, I
It's okay.
gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you answered this in that, but tell me if you want to add more, which is what are some unique strengths that you bring into your therapy space, being bilingual, being flexible, so the clients can feel seen, safe, understood.
I think something that it's unique to who I am is my curiosity. I am someone, you know me, I'm someone that I'm continuing to study, to learn new ways. Like I'm always looking onto, how else can I address this? And I'm always the client first. So all
Yeah.
the modalities that I offer, I experience them first myself as a client.
Yeah.
So I think that I don't know if it's unique, but what I like about my style of how I am as a therapist is that truly I connect with whoever is in front of me, and based on what is happening in that relationship with that person, I may do, let's say, a family constellation session. I may do an EMDR session. I may do a Santre. I may do some play therapy. I may just be present with whatever the person is telling me without doing much. Like I feel that I have enough uh, tools or approaches that I can bring into the space
Yeah.
depending to what that person needs and depending to what I'm able to hold
Yeah.
in that moment.
Oh.
And I also feel that I have a big window of tolerance. Sometimes my husband says, "You are too comfortable in chaos." Like, yeah, I'm one of eight. I grew up with chaos. I grew up with loud sounds, with,
Yeah.
like being around
Mhm.
lots of people, being around, like, so I think I'm like, I never experienced a client that whatever that client brought into my space, it felt like it was too much.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they can be in relationship with that. So that's about me.
I love that about you. What is something that you wish people knew more about mental health being a bilingual therapist?
I think this is a message for therapists.
Mhm.
I feel that many times therapists really pressure themselves to have the answer, the
Mhm.
right treatment
Mhm.
plan, the right approach.
Mhm.
They pressure themselves to, like, we have to get to this outcome. And they miss the most important piece, which it is the relationship, which it is, like I see myself as a very small dot in the client's lives. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just going to bring something, what I get to offer, what I can offer,
Mhm.
but I'm just one tiny variable,
Yeah.
right? Out of these many variables that a clients have in their life, right? So it's like my invitation to the therapist, like, just loosen up. Like, it's not about the approach, it's not about the technique, it's not about the strategy, it's about the relationship.
Yeah.
Trauma is healed in relationship with others.
Yeah.
And all clients we work with
Mhm.
experience trauma, right?
Yeah.
Do you agree?
I agree. I love everything that you just said there. Um, okay. So then what is one moment that reminds you um, why working with this population as a bilingual therapist? Like, what is one moment that reminds you like all of this is worth it and why you work with this population?
I remember I had a client, he's a male
Mhm.
client, Latino,
Mhm.
and my experience, I work with a lot of male
Yeah.
Latinos, is that there's so much pressure to the male Latino to toughen up, to be the provider, to be the macho, to be the
Yeah.
the one that sets the limits, the one that is rough. There is not much permission to just connect,
Yeah.
to go into that internal space. And I remember I had this session with this beautiful man. He was in his 50s. And we did like, so here is where I'm bringing some gestalt and some family constellations. So he was doing some work with his internal young self.
Yeah.
He was his eyes closed, holding a pillow,
Yeah.
crying, talking to his young self, telling him all the things he needed to hear when he was a young kid.
Yeah.
I see you, you're enough. I know you saw he grew up in poverty, so he always wanted to have a toy for El Dia de los Reyes, and he never
Yeah.
got one. So he was like, like,
Yeah.
I know how much you wanted that. And it was so hard to grow up in poverty, right? Look, so
Yeah.
it's just a simple moment of attachment to self, of being able to hold all of those parts. And he was doing all of that. And when I zoom out, so I remember in that moment, like I wanted to cry with him because
Yeah.
for a male Latino to be able to go in that space,
Yeah.
it takes a lot of like strength, a
Mhm.
lot of trust, a lot of like just dropping the wall and like being in that, like
Mm.
fragile in the sense of not fragile, maybe in that soft space,
Yeah.
you know? So that's a moment that I'm like, yeah, I want to keep doing this.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
What are some of the strengths that you bring into your work that people may not be able to see it either on your resume or on your professional bio?
What I hear from other colleagues that have worked with me, and I see it in myself, it's not just feedback, is that I have a I have a I trust in
Mhm.
the process, and I'm very attuned to the felt sense of what is happening in the moment.
Yeah.
And I can also conceptualize, like in the moment, I can like zoom back,
Yeah.
zoom out, and be able to conceptualize where the client is at in that moment, right? Like what the client like is connecting with, what is the emotional age, the client's window of tolerance, is the client able to go there or not go there.
Yeah.
uh, so I think it's that, right? Like on one hand, to trust
Yeah.
whatever is being emerged in the moment and the feel, whatever the felt sense of that session.
Yeah.
And at the same time, have enough, like, if you will, left brain information to be able to conceptualize and go with it.
Mm.
I think that's something.
Yeah, and it's something like, how do you describe that, right? In your bio or in your resume? Like, no, and it is a gift that other, not only clients get to experience that, but other colleagues get to know about you now. I love it. Mili, again, thank you. Thank you for being part of this project. Thank you for being you, and,
Thank
and,
you.
and thank you for helping your clients.
Thank you, Liliana, and thank you for putting this together and for your time and for existing in this world. You know how much I love you.
Oh, I love you too, girl. Bye.
Bye.